Good evening to you. We did have a couple of mini tornadoes to the east of Leeds this afternoon, but generally speaking, the weather in the British Isles is usually pretty benign. That's not the case, though, in other parts of the world. Let's have a glance. The Indian monsoon, for instance, going nicely there. Some very heavy rain across Southeast Asia. But when we zoom in a little bit closer, you can actually pick out a couple of typhoons, one moving towards North Vietnam, one moving towards Luzon, and that's a pretty vicious one. That's a super typhoon, winds not far off 200 miles an hour. Now, it's low pressure that's going to be dominating our weather, I think, in the next few days. Low pressure mostly to the northwest of us, but it does swing across the country from time to time, bringing some unsettled weather every now and again, and often fairly wet and windy too. If you're after some sunshine, perhaps your best bet is the southeastern corner, whereas it's more likely to be wet and windy in the north and in the west. Now, we did have lots of showers across us earlier on today. Some of them were pretty heavy and thundery. Most of the showers have faded. They are still going, though, across Scotland, and there's another area of rain swinging across Northern Ireland. That too will move into the western north of Scotland during the course of the night. But for most places, certainly for much of England and Wales, it should be a fine and dry night. Might turn a little bit misty and damp along some of those western coasts before the night's out. Lowest temperatures about 12 degrees or so. So maybe a bit of a grey start across the west there. Otherwise, England and Wales should have some sunshine. Clouds will develop. Some showers will break out, I think, during the course of the day. Probably rather more showers than we had in the southeastern corner today. For Scotland and Northern Ireland, good deal of cloud around to begin with, these outbreaks of rain, but they'll turn, I think, more and more showery probably as the day wears on. In fact, with the sun breaking through, Aberdeen could well get to a warm 21 degrees, but the warmest weather again in the southeastern corner, 24, even 25 degrees. Tomorrow evening and through the night, another quite active weather system will come in from the west, pack in the isobars, bring along the rain. So it'll be turning wet and windy from the west, and that rain will move across many parts of the country during the course of Wednesday, but as a weakening affair. So the rain, once it comes to the southeast, fairly light and patchy, and somewhat drier weather following along behind. Not necessarily all that sunny. I think there still will be a fair amount of cloud. Heaviest rain in the more northern parts of the country. A repeat performance, I think, on Thursday. In other words, many areas starting off dry and bright, the first of those bands of rain having moved away eastwards, but more rain coming in from the west late on in the day. And again, some of that rain could be quite heavy, and it'll be turning out to be fairly breezy. That rain too out of the way for Friday, which leaves us with a mixture of sunshine and showers just about everywhere. That's all from me. A very good night.
The summer of inspirational music continues. The BBC Proms, every night this week on BBC 4 and Radio 3.
You don't have to pay for everything in one go. So why not spread the cost of your TV license over the year and pay by direct debit? For more information, call 0800 328 2020. At less than a tenner a month, it's one less thing to worry about.
A successful business.
We are a minicab company, and we've got no cars.
Built on experience.
Do you know Billy Ricky?
Is he one of the new drivers?
Making the right impression.
My shirt appears to be shrinking.
A new series of Roger Rogers starts Sunday at 9 on BBC One.
Jeffrey Archer's millions on liquid assets in half an hour. First, in a new series, meet the showbiz couple on BBC One. And remember, Ruby, it's Liza with a Z.
Are you guys waiting for Liza Minnelli or somebody else?
Who's there?
Where are you from?